There are quite some taxes which make things expensive here. One of them is the import duties. We are, for us to be able to export our produce here, we need certain packing materials, or we need trays, because we also sell rooted plants here. In Europe, we can sell unrooted cuttings to Holland. And then in Holland, they still have to involve a lot of labor to do sticking and other operations. And the next step we are doing here is to send to Europe plants which have roots, and then in Holland it will be automatically planted in pots which they prefer. So they want us to have more added value and send plants which have roots instead of cuttings which still need a lot of labor in Holland. But for those things we need to import plastic trays. For the cuttings we need to also import plastic sleeves. Now these are things which are consumables for export. They will be used again to be exported. Now the Tanzanian government is putting a lot of import duties on them. There's an excess duty which is somewhere 120%. There's sometimes the VAT on it. There's other duties, so it comes almost to 200% extra. So the price of the expense of the goods which we're using is double from what we buy them for, plus bringing them here. Of course, the government is doing this to protect their own industry, but we cannot buy these things locally. So this is something which is a huge expense for us. Then there is also other taxes. There's a VAT going on here, which is very slow for us to, because we export, we're supposed to get it back, which is not happening. It's happening, but it's always been cut, and it's always years later. Those are things. So VAT becomes partly an expense to us. There is what issues we have. Also, there are some taxes. They call it produce cess and service levy. It's not clear exactly. They're leaving a little bit to the local governments to charge them or not to charge them, and they're talking about 3 to 5% of the turnaround. Or there's a lot of things like, wow, is this going to happen? If they want to charge a company like us 5% of our turnaround, then that's the end of our company. We don't make 5% profit, never. So there's a lot of things that they're hanging in the air, and they're dangerous. So this is something which they have to be very clear on and sort it out. And otherwise, people, I'm here. I'm not going away, but I might not expand too much. But for other people who have to decide, shall I go to Uganda? Another extra expense for us, and something which is very unreliable and difficult to predict on your budget, is the electricity. Electricity is a big issue in Tanzania. There have been lots of power cuts, long power cuts. There is always the issue of there's no rain, there's no water in the lakes, there's no power from these plants coming, problems with generators. So we have unreliable power supply, which means we have to have lots of generator backups. If you have to run your company and your engines or whatever on generators, it's very expensive. The fuel prices are going up. So it's unreliable and expensive for us, which we cannot charge to our clients in Europe, because then we lose the market. Also, the prices of electricity are going up. Last year I paid maybe 10 million a month on electricity. This year it's 50 million, 60 million, 70 million. And then we have maybe like daily power cuts, depending on, in rainy season it might be more than a few times a day. So this is, and we had in the past also periods of 3 or 4 months with only power at night, or a few hours a day, or a few days a week, whatever, which is a massive expense to us. So we also hope the government will really deal with it, because we have generators, but what about small companies? The moment you get the loan, you already have to start repaying. So that was really a problem for us to expand. But we were dealing with those commercial banks. When the crisis came, the banks tried to shut down everything they had going on with agricultural companies. We had to repay everything as fast as possible. We were saved by the government. The Tanzanian Investment Bank studied our case, and they did a refinancing facility. They gave us a refinancing, so they took over $300,000 from a commercial bank, which we have by now already repaid. but they gave us more time to repay that loan. And the Tanzanian Investment Bank also gave us even a loan for expansion, because we have been increasing our flower seeds production in Morogoro and Tanga and other areas of Tanzania. And we needed some investment there because we have to train people, we have to first put in money before we get it back. So the Tanzanian Investment Bank really helped us out there.